What you guys, got another video on my perfect Windows 11 setup. Quite a few people ask how to install Windows 11 and set it up so with minimal bloat and also no ads and things like that to make it more usable. So I thought I'd make a video showing you how to do that. So starting from a fresh install here, you definitely want to go to time and currency format and put this to world, and this will remove a lot of the pre-installed bloat that comes with Windows 11. And we can change this setting back once we've installed Windows 11. Now in my last couple of videos, the hate campaign continues. It's normally Linux users that are doing it for some reason. It's absolutely ridiculous. They're like little children, they really are. And they're just continual attacks in the comments section. And I will be going through there today and blocking a lot of those people. So hopefully that will sort those people out. Haters are gonna hate. And as Mark Twain said, never argue with an idiot. They will drag you down to their level and beat you with experience. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore those idiots and just get on with what I do. So we're going to go ahead and click next and continue with the installation. We're going to skip all the product key and we're going to go ahead and I'll skip all this part and get to the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about here. And it's this step. So Windows setup. So I like to use Windows 11 Pro. If you are using Windows 11 Home, I would consider upgrading to Windows 11 Pro because it gives you more control over your installation, i.e. with Group Policy Editor and things like that. Now I have made videos on Windows 11 Home and Pro and showed you how to tweak it to make it less bloaty and also remove a lot of the ads and things like that. So I'm going to choose Windows 11 Pro and we're going to accept their terms and conditions and move on to the next step. So let me just quickly get this set up here and then we can go to the next step in the installation, which is more important. So I'll skip this part and let it install. And you should get to this screen right here and there should be some sort of error popping up because we've made that change. And you can see OOBE, which is the outer box experience region. It's changed and we need to skip this part now. And this will stop all the pre-installed apps being installed and all the bloat. So let's go ahead and click skip and we can move to the next step on the installation. So let's click skip. Now you can choose just your keyboard layout. So go ahead and choose whatever country you live in and we can skip the second keyboard layout. And this will take us to the next window, which is the next important step which you need to follow. Now, while it's checking for updates, let me explain this. Now, it seems some people do get quite upset when you say Windows 11 is a good operating system, and it really is. It's one of the most secure operating systems that Microsoft released. Yes, it is full of bloat, it's full of settings that you have to change and a bunch of hoops you have to jump through to get it working properly. But once you get it working properly, it is a very good operating system. Now, people will misconstrue everything you say and twist that and turn it into something against you. And this is exactly what happens all the time because they don't watch all the video, they skip it, or they're not watching your content on a regular basis. And of course, when that happens, they will try to shame you in the comments section by saying 1 minute you're making videos about scripts and the next minute you're making videos about don't use scripts and all this sort of nonsense. And they're obviously just trying to troll and get you to make a response. So from this day forward, I'm not going to be responding to them. I'm just going to be blocking them. And it's that simple. Anyway, once we get to this stage, how would you like to set up this device? Set up for personal use. If you select this option, you are going to be forced to use a Microsoft account. From this day forward, on the latest builds of Windows 11, they are trying to get you to sign into a Microsoft account. If you've got a Pro version of Windows 11, you can choose this option, which is set up for work and school. And this is the one I like to do on my machine. So we're going to select this option. And now from here, we can go to sign-in options and choose domain. This is going to allow us to bypass the forcing of setting it up with a Microsoft account. Now, you used to be able to put no@thankyou.com and that doesn't work anymore. They've blocked that. So here you would put in your account details and you can see it's allowing us to set up a local account. So let's go ahead and put our name in here. You can give it a password if you wish, and this will take you to this step. You definitely want to be turning all of this stuff off because this is how Microsoft are harvesting all your information. You can turn a lot of this stuff off inside group policy, and that's what we will be doing. I'm not going to go through the whole process because I've covered that video already, but I'll show you exactly what you can do. So now I've turned all those off. These are your location and things like that, data collection. So we're going to turn that off. It's going to check for some updates, and then it's going to move on to the next step with setting up your user profile and getting the desktop ready for use. So let's go ahead and let that finish off, and we will get to the desktop. Okay, so now you should see the desktop for the very first time. There will be less bloat in here because we use that world setting, and we can change that in a second. But there is still quite a bit of bloat left inside here. And unfortunately, this is just one of the things that you're going to have to deal with if you want to use Windows as your main operating system, especially if you want to use Windows 11, because Windows 11 is bloated with loads of applications and unnecessary junk that you might not want. So you can go ahead and uninstall this. Now, of course, you can choose whatever you like at this stage, whether you want to use Linux, Mac OS, Android or Windows. I really don't care. That's not my concern. And for myself, I need to use a Windows operating system, and Windows 11 is the latest, and that's what I'm going to have to use. So I will go through a bunch of different hoops of cleaning this stuff out. So to change it back from the world setting, you need to go to regional settings, and we need to change this one here where it says world, and change this to United Kingdom or wherever you are in the world, and change that, and it should be back to normal. So we now got this stage done, and now we can go ahead and start to uninstall the applications. Now I can understand some people don't like all of this stuff on there, but this is just what Windows 11 is, and you either get used to it and deal with it, or you change your operating system to something else. And for me, Linux just doesn't cut it. It just doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. And that doesn't necessarily mean I hate Linux. It just means it doesn't work for me. So you use what you want to use. It's your choice. So let's go ahead and uninstall a lot of these applications. And yes, you're going to have to go through this right here. Now, some of these are not going to be allowed to be uninstalled, and you will have to do these in the PowerShell window. So go to your settings here for that application and put it to background apps permissions, and then you can say never, terminate, and then you can use the commands to remove them. And it's that simple. Or you can use a script to remove them, or some sort of application like Revo uninstaller, whatever it is that you want to use to uninstall apps. And I think we can say that we shouldn't have to be doing all of this with an operating system, but unfortunately, the way Microsoft are going, this is what you're going to have to do if you want to use a Windows operating system. It's plain and simple. So let's go ahead and I'm going to terminate a lot of these and remove them all. And once it's done, you should have something looking like this here. So I'm going to go back into apps, and you can now see all of the apps have been removed, and I've just left in here just your bare essentials. Now, there is ways of removing Edge. I'm not going to do that in this video because it can break things, so I'm going to leave that in there. Next up, you can see we do have quite a clean system. There's a couple of little extra ones I need to remove, like this one here and also this one here, and I can do that off camera, but you get the general idea now. So we've got quite a clean looking installation for apps now, and we still need to deal with a lot of stuff, unfortunately, but that's just the way it goes with Windows. And yes, that doesn't make Windows a bad operating system. It just means you have to go through a bunch of hoops to get to where you want to get to. So we're just going to turn all of the widgets off, the Copilot and all the other stuff, and make the search a icon only, and you should have something looking like this. And again, it doesn't take long, and once you do this, you don't have to keep doing it. It's done. So you can see we are now looking pretty clean and tidy. You still got a lot of privacy stuff you need to deal with, and you can deal with a lot of that stuff inside group policy, and I'll quickly show you. So inside privacy and security, there's a lot of stuff you have to turn off in Windows 11. And like I've said before, it doesn't mean I'm now saying that this is great. It's not. But unfortunately, this is the way things are. and you either use this Windows operating system and do a lot of these things, or jump ship and use Linux, or go and use Android, or go and use Mac OS and buy one of those. Whatever it is you want to do, stop twisting things in the comments and making it out that I am going from one thing to another, because I'm not. Now, inside Group Policy Editor, you're going to have to make a bunch of changes. I've showed you how to do all of this stuff in previous videos. If you haven't watched those, I've not long made them. It's in Windows 11 Home and Windows 11 Pro, and also Windows 10 Home and Windows 10 Pro. You can go through here and turn off all the settings. I show you what to turn off. They are very long videos, but they're in depth, and they will show you how to get rid of all of this stuff and make it like this, just as you see here. I'm not going to go through it in this video because I've already done it, and it will bore you to tears. You can also use tools like Titus Text, the Ultimate Windows Utility tool, if you wish, and this will also debloat Windows. But like I've said before, use this at your own risk. It's going to disable a bunch of stuff and turn a bunch of stuff off, and that might not be for you. And if that's the case, then don't use it. But if you do want to use it and you do want to debloat Windows, then you can use that tool to do it if you wish. If you don't trust it, then don't use it. Or you can use the manual method to do all of this in Group Policy and turn a lot of stuff off manually yourself, but you'll need to know what you're doing. Now, I've seen people talking about, this method of Titus Text tool will completely debloat Windows and stop telemetry 100% or 99.9%. All of the telemetry is gone. That is simply not true, and that's misinformation. You will not be able to know 100% whether you will be able to stop telemetry. It could be hard coded into the operating system. And even if you go through this with a fine-tooth comb and do all of these settings that I show you in videos, there's no guarantee that this will completely stop telemetry from being collected from your machine. It's that simple. But if you do want to lighten a load of your system, you can use Titus Text tool, or you can go and do manual tweaks or use a script or whatever it is you want to use on your system. I'll show you how to do it. It's very simple. Open up a terminal with administrative privileges here and use the code and copy it in and push enter, and this will download his tool and open it, and you can then run one of the presets on here. So let me go ahead and just quickly show you this, just so you can understand how this works. It's very simple. It does lighten the load a little bit on the processor side. I think that's mainly Shut Up 10 that's doing a lot of the work, and also turns off a bunch of services and sets them to manual. So you can use these here, desktop, laptop, minimal, or whatever it is you want to set it at. Once you've done that, you can choose a few options here. If you want to, there's some advanced ones there which you have to use caution with, like removing, edge and things like that. This can brick your system, so be very, very careful what you're selecting here. Again, using tools like this come with no warranty and no support. I've mentioned that in a previous video. You do this at your own risk, and this is the choice you have. You can either choose to use programs like this or do it manually, or you can choose to leave it as stock and run Windows 11 as it is. It's entirely up to you. I make tutorial videos on how to do things. I don't tell you to do things. It's like baking a cake. I could bake a lemon cake. It doesn't mean I like lemon cake. I'm just showing you how to bake a lemon cake. It's that simple. So you choose what you want to do with your computer. But once you've run these, you need to restart your PC, and you will see a bunch of settings have been changed and your processes will drop. Now, will your processes go back up? Yes, they will. If you start installing other applications and things like that, your processes will go back up. This is on a virtual machine, but I'll show you on my machine what it looks like with my processes after I've got everything installed. But now you can see there is your CPU and your memory. It's only 79, but this will go back up. It's not going to stay like this because this is a completely fresh install and an empty system. That will fluctuate and go up. So now you've got that done, you need to take care of all your privacy settings. Now, if you use Titus Text tool, it will take care of a lot of this stuff, but there's still quite a bit that you can do yourself. And you can see some of this area has been left like a calendar. And I can understand why, because everyone wants something different with their PC. And if you start turning everything off and put that into a program and run it, you're going to get a bunch of people complaining saying you broke my computer. And that's typical of the internet. And that's partly why I never released that batch file, is because I got a load of grief in the comments section. And of course, if you run the batch file, it could disable or remove stuff that you want to use. And then, of course, you're going to blame me for breaking your computer. And this is exactly why it's quite difficult to please everyone. But there's still some notifications here. I turn all notifications off. I don't use these, but some people may do. But even running Titus text tool, there's still some areas like storage sense and things like that still working. And again, this could be harvesting data and sending it back to Microsoft. So you might want to disable that. Now, I have got a batch file that I run on my system, so I don't use Titus text tool on my system. I use my own batch file, and basically I've created this myself, and it does everything that I want it to do on my computer. That's how I run it. So I use this on my PC, and when it's done, it will do what Titus text tool does, and also my settings that I have added in, which I like to use on my system. And this is how I set mine up. Yours might be completely different, but you can see a lot of this stuff has now been disabled and turned off. And you can do all that with a batch file or an application or whatever it is you want to use on your computer. If you don't want to use any of this stuff, by all means, don't use it. I also like to use Start 11 on my system, and I use it on my main computer because I don't like the start menu. There is things about Windows 11 I don't like. If you go back and watch some of my videos, you will see some of the stuff I don't like on Windows 11. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not going to use Windows 11 because I have to. So there we go. So I'm going to run this on my system and get it installed. If you don't like the start menu, this is probably one of the best options available to you, and you can customize it to your liking. And I'll show you how I have mine set up in a second. So you got a 30-day trial, and they will send you an email, and then you get 30 days on it. And there's a load of settings inside here that you can configure it with. I have made videos on this. If you want to see a full in-depth video on how I get it to look like my menu, then let me know in the comment section below, and I'll show you how to do that. This is just a basic look here. You need to customize it, and I'll show you how to do that if you want to see it. So anyway, that is the Start 11 menu, and this is my Windows 11 system. Now I'm on an ultra wide screen, so you won't see the clock here, but this is my menu that I use on my computer, and this is Start 11. I've customized it to the way I like it, and this makes Windows 11 usable in my personal opinion. Once you get it set up like this, Windows 11 works really well, and I have no issues with Windows 11 whatsoever. All my settings have been changed. All my privacy settings have all been turned off in group policy, and that's how I set mine up. Like so, none of this stuff is working. Now, am I 100% telemetry free? Is my system completely free from Microsoft harvesting my data? Probably not, because in the background, it's probably still doing some sort of harvesting of my information, but I've done all I can do to stop that. I've also got Windows Update set to manual. As I've always told you, this is how I set my system up. If you're wondering what the processes look like on a system that is fully loaded with applications and all my settings, and it's the same for anyone else, it doesn't matter what tool you use, that's what you're going to get. So it will never stay down at 60. Once you start installing all of your applications and games and things like that, processes will go up, and you will not drop it down to 60 and have it running at 60 all day long unless you're running a pretty empty system. My system is fully loaded with stuff, so you're very unlikely to get it as low as that all the time. All I do on my YouTube channel is create content for you guys on how to do things. I don't tell you what to do. I leave that choice up to you. But a lot of people want to see how to do certain things, and I have the knowledge to share that with you, and that's what I do. So stop trying to make out that I'm telling you to do something in one video and telling you to do something in another video. I make content on how to do things, like I've said before. So stop with the trolling in the comments, because I'll either turn comments off altogether or I'm just going to start mass blocking loads of people. I've got people threatening to unsubscribe and saying I'm contradicting myself. I've got a bunch of trolls coming in here, hate comments, and there's even some guy in here with a bunch of other users on here making comments about Linux, and it's just repetitive. I mean, what is wrong with these people? I mean, look at them. I mean, how many comments have you got to make to get your... It's like you're looking desperate for people to join Linux, and it's not a good look, let me tell you. And this is what I have to put up with on a daily basis, and it's just ridiculous. It really is. And not one of these people have even got the front to join my Discord server and come into voice and have it out inside there like a real man and have a conversation, because they want to come on here with their little hidden accounts, trolling and doing the usual little activities that they do online, which is upsetting people and being nasty and malicious. It's borderline bullying people online, and they think they're immune to it and they're going to get away with it, but they're not. So these are the people right here, and I'll name and shame a few of them because these are the ones that constantly do it. You can see no information on their account, just hiding all their information, and they've got a few subscribers. There's probably a little clique of them that are actually doing it, and here they are right here. As you can see, here's another one. And again, they're all Linux users, and these are the sort of people that are on the platform that are trying to get you to join Linux, and these are the sort of toxic behavior that they like to do, and it's just childish. It really is. And there's loads of other ones there, but I'm not going to go through it because that's what they want, a bit of attention, but they just need to grow up. They really do. Anyway, I've spent enough time trying to make a video today, but half of me wants to make a video and half of me wants to rant. And I'm very sorry if it's come across that way in this video, but, you know, sometimes everyone has a breaking point and, you know, it's getting a little bit too much. And I'm just going to spend most of my day today blocking those people from a channel, and that way I can just move on and dedicate my time to people that really do appreciate things I do on YouTube and watch my content on a regular basis. Anyway, with that said, my name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. I shall catch you in the very next video, or I'll see you on the Discord server for a chat. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.